helicopters in Afghanistan, still in the U.S. Marine Reserves, and then just somewhere along the line got fascinated with chocolate. And he started his own little business making very high-end chocolates in the gun barrel area. And that's just down the street from where I live, and I've visited him and bought some of his chocolates, and he's kind of promised to bring some samples with him.
Some incentive.
So I hope you'll join us for that.
What's the name of the business, please?
It's the Lift Chocolates. There's the website right down below. And you can order stuff directly online, but you can see the type of things he's done. And really quite a nice guy. So anyway, that'll be December 14th. And that kind of rounds us out for the year. I am beginning to work on the next year's CNC listing, so if you know someone or you would like to speak, please let me know. Okay, just going back, we're very fortunate, to have Don join us. I think, like so many of our CNCs, I think Don had just stopped by the museum sometime and mentioned he had an interesting story. And of course, as soon as we start talking, we say, wow, that's marvelous. So anyway, Don's here to tell us about his father and something which occurred during World War II.
I guess I'm all hooked up. Can you hear me okay? I guess so. Well, I'll start off by saying moyen. That's how they say it in Luxembourg. Luxembourgese is moyen. Good morning. A little bit about myself. This isn't about me at all, because that's the story. But I grew up in Irondequoit, New York, which is the town nestled between the northern end of Rochester, New York, and the southern belly of Lake Ontario. And had a great growing up period. Lots of kids in the neighborhood, as you could imagine. And it was a post-World War II suburb. And my dad worked for Rochester Telephone Corporation, which was an independent phone company. A lot of guys who were in the Signal Corps worked for telephone companies, I guess, after the war, of which he was part of. He was in a message unit. They call it a message unit, a small group of guys. But I went to school there. Went to college in Boston, came back and worked at a local TV station as a news photographer eventually. I kind of got into that and set my sights to Denver because that had the more opportunities for me in a profession I was learning by the seat of my pants. So I turned out to work for Channel 9 for 31 years and as a news photographer for them, and retired about 11 years ago, close to. Actually, I took a buyout from them. They wanted to get rid of all the old guys. And I was approaching that. So I came and settled in Denver. And let me see, I want to make sure I've got my little notes. I wanted to mention a couple of things here. When I was a little boy, I vaguely remember there was a AP photo, a newspaper article with a picture of my father in a Jeep. And I don't know how much they emphasized that picture, but I remember it. But that's all I remember, that he played Santa Claus somewhere. And then in 1977, the people of Wiltz found my dad alive after the bulge. And they invited him back to play St. Nicholas again 30 years later. And so I had just started working at the TV station, and I hadn't acquired any vacation time. So I went to my boss, and I didn't ask him. I told him, I'm leaving. I've got to go to Luxembourg. So the whole family of what there was at the time, hadn't grown as big as we are now, but went over there, and I'll tell you something. That town is never forgotten, and we didn't realize that in 1947, when they rebuilt the town enough, they duplicated this event to this day. In fact, my older brother David, who you'll see a little snippet of in the video, is leaving tomorrow and he's going to be there for the 75th anniversary. And he's my sister and all of their acquired family is going along. There's going to be about 14 people going. And so with that, I don't know what else I've left out, except it's very strange. One of the little notes to make is that of the small group of guys that put this party together, the one who lived the longest out of all of them happened to be the guy who played the part, which I think is fascinating. And when being a video storyteller like I was all my life, I know the value of the more visuals, the better. You've got to have pictures. And that really helps tell the story. Well, it just so happened, and you might see a little blurb here, about there were 2 combat cameramen coming back from an assignment, and this was during R&R, this was a lull in the war. They were walking through the streets of Wiltz, and they see this Jeep go by with Santa Claus on it, and they look at each other and go, what the heck is this? I don't know, let's go find out. And they shot film, which you can find on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and you put in the American Saint Nick, you will see all the raw black and white footage of my dad when he was 22 years old. And so they, 30 seconds either way, the story could have been told with still pictures. They had those. But that film is priceless for telling this story. So with that...
Could you show the map of Luxembourg?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. The one thing he told me not to forget. And by the way, thank you very much for all you do here. This is a lot of work, and you did a heck of a good job here. Wiltz is where all this happened. And it's oddly, Clairvaux is also noted on this map, and that's where my dad was when the Battle of the Bulge broke through. He was assigned to go show movies at different locations. He was showing Going My Way with Bing Crosby, and he was up in Clairvaux when the Bulge hit. But he was based in Wiltz during this period of time. All right, are we ready to go? All right, this documentary was done released in 2015, and it does a much better job than I could, and it's very concise and well put together, so you'll see the story. And I guess the lights have to maybe...
We'll lower the lights.
Lower the lights.
Here's the sign-up sheet. I'll put it in the back here, so hope you'll join us. Well, lead it, so you'll just have to... Don, if you want to make comments or something...
Okay, very good. All right.
Funding for this program provided by
Wargaming, developer of online World War II games World of Tanks and upcoming World of Warships. Wargaming honors the greatest generation by supporting heritage projects, educational initiatives, and stories like this.
additional support provided by support for this program also made possible by
Gonna grab there, huh? Might hit play again, see what happens.
Slow typist.
We are. Thank you. Let's see, I wanted to mention a couple things. One little item which I thought was very interesting. Tim Gray, who did this video, this was all original music, by the way, and the person who was putting together the music studied the guitar that was being played and realized, watching him, that he was playing Jingle Bells. So very subtly, when the music bed matched his guitar playing in here, which is something most people wouldn't, but I wanted to mention that because I thought that was a very, very nice touch. That letter that Gene Schweig sent to my dad, my brother is, as I said, on the way over tomorrow, and we've decided we're going to donate that letter to the museum. That's about it. If there's any questions, I don't. One of the things I wanted to mention, my best buddy bought a brick down in New Orleans, and it's got American Saint Nick on it. So I don't know what else I got. Oh, and my daughter, my wife's birthday is December 6th, and my oldest daughter's birthday is December 6th.
Go figure.
Go figure.
Is your dad still alive?
No, he died 13 months ago. Yep. Yes.
The two young girls were angels, so they...
Yeah, the two young girls, I remember we went back there in '94, my dad said, "I'm spending your inheritance," and he flew the whole family over there, which I'll never forgive him for. And it was funny too, because we realized years later, if that plane went down, it would be it for the whole darn family, because everybody was there. But the two angels, in fact, there was a picture right toward the end. I didn't realize it, but there was a picture of her, one of them anyway. But they were there, present. So the two angels made it, and they were in their 60s, I think, back in '94. And they showed up, and they weren't heralded at all. They were just kind of there, and all of a sudden I'm watching my folks talk to them and to them, and not realizing until they told me. So they made it. So anything else I can help you with, guys?
But we have one item. This is a small world thing.
Okay.
I wish I had heard this story before I visited there in '96.
Oh my gosh.
My grandfather came from there.
Oh my goodness.
And but a lot of years before. He came at the end of the 1800s.
Uh-huh.
And the family name for my mother's side, the family name is Wiltshire, which means son of Wilts.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so that,
Well, that's fantastic.
I had never heard this story, but I was there and saw some of the monuments that were in this.
Oh, did you? You saw some of those?
Oh yeah, you saw the outfit. I could remember that one.
Well, if anybody is ever traveling to Europe and you want to make a little side trip, you go into Wilts, and just the fact that you're American, it's all you need, and they'll treat you like royalty.
How far is it from Bastogne?
About 20-minute drive, I think. It's right over Bastone's right over the border. There's a beautiful memorial in Bastogne, huge, so big that every State of the Union is engraved on the inside and outside of this big wall.
Impressive.
And the entire story of the battle is on every pillar on the inside, all in English.
Just as another little sidelight, now that you bring up Bastogne, in the late 90s, the little town of Houffalize, which is just north of Bastogne, about 10 miles, invited all the soldiers who are still around from the 11th Armored Division to come back for a special celebration of what they call their second liberation. Obviously the first time is when our forces came through and pushed the Germans out. Then we had the Battle of the Bulge, and then we had that whole battle coming again. And I had the opportunity of going back with my father-in-law, who then was a young officer heading a recon unit with the 11th Armored. And they're the ones who pushed into Hopefully, pushed the Germans out, and eventually linked up with the forces coming down from the north. But what was so, it just was so moving was the appreciation of everyone in the town for what the Allies did. And there was a big gathering in the community center where young people came out and read poems dedicated to the soldiers. And again, these guys were kind of old at that point. And they had a special celebration in the church where they read off the names of 215, I think, citizens who were killed during the latter part of that thing. And I asked them just off to the side, how did it happen? Well, there was a bridge not far from the church. And the citizens all flocked to the church for safety. And unfortunately, a flight of our bombers came over that knocked the bridge out and hit the church. But no one said anything, ever, about what occurred there. But again, I could see, it was so moving to go back to really see that.
Oh, yeah.
And see the appreciation. Yes.
My father was in the 2nd Armored Division in the Ardennes, and I went on a tour this fall with the World War II Museum, and we stayed in Clerval, but they do a very good job.
Yeah, it's
Well,
really
the thing
something.
which struck me so much too is we went back for this thing in January, and we went through the woods, the same thing as the final approach. And it wasn't snowing, but there's snow all over the ground, and I was freezing through it. The cold and the moisture, just penetrates. And again, there was a gentleman there who was the regimental surgeon or so. And he basically said, as you advanced during that whole period, if a fellow buddy was shot or was wounded, you just kept going. You left them, because that was the push. And then the medics and they all came up behind, but they said if you didn't get to them within the next 20 minutes, they were just frozen. And again, if you look anywhere in Europe, if you notice, like in the movie, all the structures are stone. You don't see little wooden houses. Occasionally maybe a little hut. But if all the structures are stone, that meant every house, every little cottage then became essentially a bunker. Yeah. And you had to fight your way through that. But it is just amazing, and it's just an amazing story.
It's astounding to watch.
So,
Yes.
Don, we just
One more question
Oh,
here.
yes. Can you talk about the poster?
Oh, this is just an example of what they put out prior to the celebration to just let everybody know what's going on. And I think this was 94.
It says 99.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
99. That's right. Yep, there you go. But this is a common poster that they let everybody know. I guess a helicopter is going to bring them in, and I guess my dad signed this picture here. It's a copy of a picture he signed and gave to him. Yeah, it's a big deal. Did you have a question? Oh, sorry.
Is that documentary available online?
Yeah, and this is another thing I would like to mention. If there's ever a charity you want to donate to, and this World War II Foundation, it's WWII Foundation.org. They do just obviously a great job, and that would be a big suggestion. But if you go to that, you'll see all the videos they've done, several of them. They've got some good backers. I know Bill Belichick's one of them. And then Dan Aykroyd is a big supporter. And the guy who played, this is Damian Lewis or something, who played on the movie Band of Brothers, he's one of their supporters. But it's a good organization, and he does a heck of a good job telling the story.
You have your book up here and the magazine
and there's
article.
There's a book that was written, and you saw Peter Lyon all the way through this thing. But it's a real nice, easy read, and this came out about the same time. This was given as a gift when I went there in 15. This is all in Luxembourgese. I haven't unwrapped it because I know I won't understand a darn word of it. So, but anyway, that was a gift to us. It was translated into Luxembourgese. And then this magazine, American World War II, there's a little story about that. And this is my wife and my two beautiful daughters. Just thought I'd show you that. And there's a commemorative brass that was given to us last time we were there. So,
And your reunion plate?
this is a plate that they put together. It's got the 28th. This is 1981, and it's just a gift to everybody that went. These people are amazing, though. They're just amazing. So, please stop off in Luxembourg or Wiltz if you can get a chance, because you'll never forget it.
Well, Don, thank you so much for
Thank you.
being our
Thank you very
speaker,
much.
and we
Oh,
want to give you one.
wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.